This is Andy Perot for Boxing Social, and I'm delighted to be joined by John David Jackson the morning after the night before. We'll start off with your fight. In fact, first, John, how are you? How are you feeling?
I'm good. Yes, I'm well rested. I'm happy because I'll be leaving soon. But it's just, the night was good for me, so I'm good.
Exactly, it was a good night for you. Let's get on to it. Rasul Majidov with a second round stoppage of Tom Little. Talk to me about your man's performance and his win.
Well, first of all, I'm impressed with you said his name because I can't even. I've been on for like 10 years. I was happy with the win. The performance was good. He stopped Tom earlier than everybody else, so that spoke volumes for him. Like I said, I have nothing to complain about. He did what I wanted to do, and it went quicker than I thought it would go. I thought eventually he would get him, but he got him sooner, so I'm happy with that. And now we can move on to the next one.
You just mentioned he stopped Tom quicker than people he's previously faced. With that will come that extra little bit of expectation as to who he's going to go and move next, and more hype possibly around him. What is next for Rasul? What do you see lined up for him in 2020?
Well, I don't want to rush him too fast. Each fight for him is going to learn experience. Even though he has a lot of amateur experience, professional is a different game. And like I told him last night, I said, you can fight. You don't need me to fight. You know how to fight. My job is to make you a better professional, seasoned professional. So with that, we have to keep getting you fights with guys that you can learn something from. And this next fight, I don't know exactly who he'll be fighting, but once I get the list, I'll pick somebody that I think, let me be honest, it's beatable, but that he can learn from. I told him to go knocking guys out, because you learn nothing from just knocking guys out. But if you can knock them out unexpectedly, then that's great, because you weren't supposed to knock them out maybe that quick. So for me, it's just make sure that, maybe he goes against a boxer this time, maybe a puncher, but just he needs these type of fights, because by the time if you get to a title shot, you don't want to fall short, because now you don't know how to fight a certain fight. So you want to, if you can, you want to get as many styles as you can.
What would be the perfect 2020 for yourself and Majidov next year? What would be ideal for you guys?
The perfect thing for me is to hit the lottery for about $150 million and retire. But boxing-wise, it's just to see him go forward, just to keep winning, keep learning, keep going, slowly, gradually going up the ranks. But we can't, with him, unfortunately, we can't go at a slow pace, slow track, because he's 32, 33, and times it doesn't stop. So we're on the fast track, but you still got to be smart on the fast track. You can't just throw him in with everybody or anybody, because he might not show up that night. So we have to be careful and then just match him correctly in 2020. And maybe by 2021, he might be ready for something big.
Well, John, just to say, if you do win the lottery, I hope you remember me. I certainly won't be forgetting you. Last night was stacked with heavyweight fights. We'll start to work our way through them with the headline event. Anthony Joshua reclaiming his unified world heavyweight titles with a unanimous decision victory over Andy Ruiz Jr. Talk to me about the fight and Anthony's victory.
Well, the fight went. I pretty much thought it would go that way. Anthony fought a smart fight. He was safety first, and he did what he had to do to win the fight. I mean, because when he woke up this morning, guess what? He was world champion again, so he did what he was supposed to do. Was it a crowd pleaser? No. Was it a fan favorite? No, but it's what he had to do to get his belt back. Now he can move on. With Ruiz, I don't like he made the comment, he all the weight. But listen, you had 6 months to get ready for the fight. You can't use those excuses now. I just think what happened with Ruiz was he won the first fight and he got complacent with the money, and so now he's not, he's satisfied. He's not hungry anymore. So for him, I say, go retire, enjoy life. Listen, you weren't supposed to be champion, but you did it, and you won it. In the rematch, you got paid a lot of money. Go enjoy life. There's nothing else there for you. But with Joshua, it was good, what he needed was a good win. It didn't show me where he's really top heavyweight in the world. I mean, that goes to Wilder now, and Fury second.
We'll come on to that discussion in a bit, but on Andy Ruiz Jr., after the excitement of the first bout in New York, after the performance he delivered there, did you expect just so much more from him last night? Was you disappointed that he never delivered to those lofty heights of June 1st?
Yeah, one would hope that he would have been more enthusiastic about for the fight for himself and trying harder. You just didn't see that, and that leads me to believe that the first fight, I think for him that was his dream, just to be champion. I think for him that was enough, and higher expectations were not there for him. The money came, And with the second fight, he got the rematch. He had the lottery. So I don't think that for him there's any of a bigger high. To me, the bigger high would have been the fight, maybe Wilder, maybe Fury get even more money. And so the rest of your life you just set. But for him, I think he's content. And I can't really. I can't speak for him, but from my point of view, I think he's content to where he's at now. So for him, there's no greater, loftier goal than what he's done already and the money that he's attained. So for him, I think retire, enjoy life. I don't think he should fight those guys. I don't think he'll ever be the same fighter or as hungry as he was before the first fight.
After the fight last night, the WBO ordered Anthony Joshua to defend his world title against Alexander Usyk within 180 days of last night. If that fight was to be made next, how do you see that one playing out? Break it down for me, John.
Well, first of all, I'd tell him to vacate that belt. Usyk's clever. He's not the biggest puncher, not the fastest fighter, but he's very smart at what he does, and he can make you look bad. And Anthony's too stiff. He still is too stiff. He looked a little bit better last night, but he's still stiff. And unless they teach him how to be, fluent, or if he's even teachable, he's got problems, especially with Usyk. I say, man, take the belt. And listen, you're still considered in the top three, and you got at least 2 belts or 3 belts left. So you're in a tough spot. Maybe he might not want to give that belt up. It's just not a good fight for him right now. I think he needs more time. Can he win it? Yeah, but that's a tough order right there. So we'll see. I just think even though he won, he still needs to be maybe taught a little bit more. He needs more seasoning. He didn't look. He won, but he didn't really look comfortable to me in winning. Because every time he got hit with the right hand, you could see like June came back in his head. June of this past year. So I don't think he's really fully over the first defeat, and he needs to learn more. He wasn't like just Anthony Josh himself. Still kind of leery of what was going on. So I think he needs more time.
Is that something like last night we saw? I've said it, for me personally, probably Anthony's best boxing performance of his career so far. But when he was getting caught with Ruiz, is it one of those where maybe if it was Deontay Wilder, do you feel that if he'd have caught him with one of the punches Ruiz did last night, he'd have done more damage, he'd have possibly stopped him?
Let me say this. After I saw what you saw, and every time he hit with the right hand, kind of got rattled. If you hit with that same right hand by Wilder, he's out. Because Wilder, the beauty of Wilder is he believes in his right hand. He believes, that's might be his downfall in the long run, but he believes in that right hand like no other, and he hits you with it. Usually, bad things happen to you. So, if they were to fight, that would probably be, and that would be on Joshua's mind, the right hand. And so, he has to really prepare for that and be very evasive. And if he can't avoid it, he has problems. So, last night showed me that he's not really ready for Wilder yet because while he had movement, it wasn't fluent. He had gaps in it where it wasn't as good as it should have been, and he didn't look as comfortable doing it. But he did what he had to do to win the fight. So I think if to fight Wilder, he's a little more seasoning with that movement and moving that head because, like you said, he didn't move it enough, and if Wilder catches you with it, it's lights out.
Just while we're on Wilder and AJ, etc., we'll stick to this before coming back to the card. Obviously, Deontay's supposed to be facing Tyson Fury next in February, provided all that is signed, sealed and delivered and approved. What are your thoughts on that rematch? Is Tyson Fury's style the only way to box against Deontay Wilder?
If Fury is to win, that's exactly what you said is true. He's going to have to box because you can't stand. The one thing that's been proven is that when Wilder hits you and you're hurt, and Fury can't afford to stand and trade with him because he leaves himself open for counter shots. He'd have to box. But the pity pat style, though, I don't know, because he doesn't have the power to keep Wilder off of him, that's his biggest problem. Wilder, on the other hand, needs to cut the ring off and make Fury engage with him and not Fury, pity pat and win a few rounds and get ahead, because once you get ahead, now the person behind on the scorecard gets desperate. And sometimes your fight plan goes out the window. It's an interesting matchup because you have a boxer and a puncher. Can the boxer survive 12 rounds and not get caught? Can the puncher land one good shot? In this fight, in the rematch, I would believe it or not give the edge to Wilder because he knows he can hurt Fury. Fury isn't proving he can hurt him at all, but he can outbox him. 12 rounds is a lot of rounds after I box one person that can punch.
I know it was a while ago, but how did you score the first bout?
You know, even though I was there live, honestly, I didn't get a good view of it because where I was seated wasn't the greatest seat. And, you know, people were jumping up. I had it close. You know, I looked at it on TV, but I didn't watch it the way I should have. I called it a draw. I said, because I told all my guys, I said, it's going to be a draw. That's the only way it can end, because there's going to be a rematch. If you look at it from a boxer's point of view, Fury won. Because it was how he out-jabbed. He pity-patted him, but he beat the crap out of that way. If you like punches, then Wilder won. He threw the knockdowns, and he won a few rounds. But I think what Wilder done, what he did wrong was he let Fury win too many rounds, and he had to play catch-up. He played catch-up and knocked him down, but sometimes do just two knockdowns really win you a fight. You know, so the rematch should be very interesting to see who can adapt to the other style this time and implement their own game plan to win the fight.
So how would you rank the top three heavyweights, AJ, Wilder, Fury? How would you rank them?
I go Wilder, Fury, and AJ.
And then just to look back to AJ, you mentioned your Deontay. In Deontay's case with Tyson, you know that mentally Deontay knows that he can hurt Tyson. Last night with Anthony Joshua, how much of a psychological boost was that for him to overcome the demons of New York, to know that he was able to produce a performance that was able to defeat Andy Ruiz Jr. and forget about June 1st? How much of a boost will that be for Anthony Joshua psychologically?
You know, it depends on how he looks at it. He could say in his mind, I did a great job and I avoided getting knocked out and I won the title back, so I did wonderful. He could also look at the flip side of that and say, well, my opponent didn't do his best to come in the best condition to win, to defeat me a second time. So, and then, you know, on the other hand, Wilder's not going to come in out of shape. Fury's not going to come in out of shape. That I believe they're definitely going to do all they have to do to be able to defeat this kid. I think take the win and have gratification that you won the fight, but don't take that win and think that you've conquered the world now, because the kid said himself. Ruiz said he came in overweight. He didn't give himself the best chance to stay champion. So you can't base his victory. He can't base that victory and say, well, now I can beat Wilder and I can beat Fury. Because he didn't show that. Even though he won, he didn't really show me the confidence that it takes, in that fight. He won, but every time he hit with the right hand, he got rattled, and he grabbed too much. I see the point where you can grab in a fight, but he grabbed too much, and that was part of his defense. That wasn't good. Even though he won, it wasn't the best thing for boxing, but it worked for him, and because Ruiz didn't find a way to negate that, hey, he did what he had to do.
Moving away from the headline fight and onto the undercard, Hunter Povetkin, a split decision draw. How did you see the fight?
You could have easily given, I guess, maybe given Hunter the victory, but neither fighter really did a whole lot. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I heard the first round, Hunter clipped him with a good shot, and then Povetkin came back and got him later on. But I think I watched rounds, I think like 6 through 10. I didn't see much. Neither fighter to me really did a lot to say, hey, I'm the better fighter and I should have won. A draw might have been the best thing for both of them. A rematch, I don't see it. How much better can it get? Povetkin, is kind of towards the end of his career. And to me, Hunter is a good fighter who should go down to cruiserweight. Honestly, he's not big enough for the big guys. All of his fights will probably mainly be by decision unless he scores a tremendous, punch out of the blue. He needs to fight cruiserweight because these guys are big. And he's not a big guy, and someone's going to catch him and hurt him. And, maybe the money might be great, but it's not worth your health. Rematch, no. I don't. If you do it, hey, have it on somebody's undercard, a big undercard, and then it's interesting, but it's not a fight to me that the fans really need to see. And to call it a draw, did them both good. No one lost and no one won. You got a draw, and you move on.
Dillian Whyte also on the undercard, returning after UKAD cleared him of any wrongdoing of his adverse finding about 6 months ago now. What was your thoughts on his victory over Marius Vac?
After he's been through so much with the WBC, not playing games with him about the title, it was good for him to just be back in the ring. It wasn't the best performance. It wasn't a stellar performance, but he did what he had to do to win, and his opponent was the right opponent for him. I like Dillian. He deserves his shot at the title. He earned it. I mean, he fought the guys he was supposed to fight. He didn't back down from anybody. And so for him to just be back in the ring is nice. I like to see him work on a few things and tighten up his defense and make his offense better and make sure he comes to the fight a little bit better in condition, shape. He's a dark horse in the division. He's dangerous. He could be better. I just think he needs more seasoning. I hate to say it because he has a nice team, but you might need someone that can teach you more. Because sometimes some of these fighters don't realize they hit a brick wall. And what I mean by that is, so many fighters today, believe it or not, know more than their trainers because they're not teachers of boxing. And if you know more than I know, and come fight night, I can't tell you what to do. You probably know more than I do, so I'm lost and you're lost. But a lot of these trainers today, they ride on the coattails of their fighters. So here's a guy who can fight, and I'm not saying his team is bad, but he might need someone that can teach him more than what he knows now to become a better fighter. Because I saw glimpses of him, certain ththings he could do. If he came in better condition and had a better overall teaching of a game plan, then I think he's definitely a threat in the division. Just needs more help.
Now, I know there was one more fight in Hrgovic-Molina, but I don't know if you'd have been able to catch it because it was straight after your man fought. Did you manage to watch it, or?
I didn't watch it, but I figured that was going to be the outcome of the fight. I can't put his name again.
Filip Hrgovic.
Okay, Philip. He's dangerous. He's a threat to the division. I've watched him previously because he was supposed to fight one of my guys, and then it didn't materialize. But he has flaws in his game, but he's dangerous at the same time. So. He's someone to watch for. And to me, here's the thing with this division. If you fight Wilder, if you can stand that right hand, you got a shot. Yeah. If you can't, but if he clips you, it might be over. AJ just has to get himself. I think it's more mental for him than physical. Because he's a physical specimen. If you look at him, most guys probably wouldn't look like that. He's chiseled. I think his is more mental. He has to get past that part, and he'll be fine. Fury, listen. Fury, he knows the game. He's smart. It's just he's more fun to watch talking. He's a character. The fight, he's good at what he does, but it's not exciting for the fans. He's a better talker and more entertaining to you on the outside than on the inside. But he wins. Don't get me wrong. He wins his fight, so I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying he's better on the outside. He's more entertaining for the fans on the outside of the ring than the inside. And after those three, the division's wide open. Because you got a lot of young guys coming up, and there's still a couple of veterans just hanging in there. You got Chisoro, and then he can be dangerous. There's a lot of guys out there, and they're all trying to get bite that title. So it makes the division right now very interesting.
You mentioned the entertainment factor. Do you feel, once again, just to go back to the main fight last night, AJ reverting to a boxing style, just looking to move around the ring, etc., as we've already discussed. Do you think with him adapting that style, last night he obviously has a big casual following, he has a big casual audience and appeals to that market. Do you think that's something which he'll always have to deal with, the pressure of everybody just expecting him to stop his opponents, which is why last night wouldn't have appealed to many people?
Well, I'll say this. For him, it's a blessing for him to live in the UK. Now, if he's in America, he would get bashed because all they want is they want to see blood and guts. They want to see violence. The only thing I've always loved about the UK is they love boxers, pure boxers. That was my style. They always embraced me. So as long as he's in the UK, he has no problem because the fans love him. And so he gets a lot of love from them, and then his style. If he tried to stay as a pure boxer, they're gonna accept him anywhere he goes because he's a winner. If he was over in America, he might get bashed every day because they want to see more blood and guts. They want to see more punches and more guys getting knocked around the ring and their brains being damaged. To me, I say, listen, do what works for you best. You're making the money, you're winning these fights, you're back on the winning trail. Do what works for you so you can, when you walk away from this game, you can walk away not only with the money but with your senses. Make sure that the money's taken care of for you, but you can walk away and be able to walk and talk and not stumble around and people can understand what you're saying. That to me that's the most important thing. So if boxing is your thing, learn it well and be the slickest boxer you can be. So when your career's over with, you can still be audible to the fans and be able to talk.
Now, before I do let you go, earlier on you joked with my colleague that you may be able to make a comeback at 168. Just to touch on that division, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders have both been linked with a fight against each other and a fight with Canelo, who was here last night. Just break down each of those fights for me. So start off with how a Callum Smith versus Billy Joe Saunders fight would break down, and then obviously moving on to Smith Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders Canelo.
Well, you know, with not Smith.
Smith Saunders.
The Saunders. I always tell people, you know, I joke about he's a poor man's version of me. If you ever watch my fights, I was slick and I was crafty. He's the same way, but he's a poor man's version of that. I thought I did a whole lot better. But he's good. Listen, I give him credit for what he does because a lot of guys can't deal with it. Smith, I heard on the other hand, I think his last fight didn't look very good. I didn't see it, but yeah. Both would be a problem. Well, no. Canelo would be a problem. I think Canelo should go to 68. I think 60 is not where he's comfortable anymore. And 75, no. Because he was smart. Let me tell you, he was smart. He picked the right guy at 78 to fight. 75, because he's the weakest link in that division. Now, better BF, leave him alone. Go back down to 68. You got a better shot there. Trust me. I think he would do well at 68 because it's not a big jump from 60. And the one thing that I like about Canelo is that after he lost his Floyd, that taught him a valuable lesson. He learned a lot since then. He's become a better fighter. Overall, a better complete fighter. He's getting there, but he's definitely in the top 3 in the world because he learned a lot from that fight. And if you can gain from a loss, then it helps you out. And you know, no one wants to lose, but it taught him that he wasn't the person he thought he was going into that fight. And he's learning since then. So I mean, a loss helped him a lot, and I think at 68 he would do great because he's not killing himself to make the weight.
How do you think he would fare against Callum Smith? You mentioned 175. Obviously, that's not his weight. It's probably just too big for him to try and get up to that weight. Callum Smith's considered a very big super middleweight. How do you think about between Callum Smith and Canelo would play out?
To me, that would depend on maybe the factor of how big Smith gets after the weigh-in. Can Canelo deal with the power? Maybe Smith might be super strong that night. There's a couple of factors. I think that I just think that maybe that Canelo is a better boxer overall because he has more experience. He's fought the better caliber of opponents, and he understands what he's doing. I would just give him the edge. And like I said, coming off Smith's last fight, he looked so good. So maybe there's a couple flaws in his game that maybe we were either exposed or he just happened to show on his own. I just think at 68, that's Canelo's best weight, and I think that's where he should go. And he should stop there.
I know you said he was a poor version of yourself, but how do you think Billy Joe Saunders would fare against Canelo?
That would depend on what kind of fight. Does he decide to try and just box him? Or does he try to decide to be a boxer puncher? Or he decides to just punch with him? You don't want to punch with Canelo because he's very good at what he does. I think Billy Joe would try to outbox him. Billy Joe's not Floyd. Floyd got good legs and he's smart. He moved around the ring. He put Canelo in positions where Canelo wasn't really familiar with, and he exposed him. I think those now he's more mentally ready for that. Billy Joe's a decent fighter. I like him. I like what he does. I just don't know if he could keep Canelo off him for 12 rounds. Because Canelo's smart. Canelo can cut the ring off and make him engage. Does Billy want to engage? Does he have enough power to stay there and engage? Does Canelo go to the body and break him down? Can Billy take those kind of shots? He might say yes to all. Okay, you're entitled to that. But you got to prove it that night. I've watched him a few times. I like what he does. But when he fought like Lemieux's terrible. I mean, I would love to have a fight against a guy like that, swinging from everywhere, and he was cute because he sat there and looked at it. I laughed. I like that. He's intelligent fighter. I like that. I just don't think that he brings enough to the table to offset Canelo. But he might prove me wrong. Hey, he could do that. He's just slick enough and has trickery to be able to pull off those kind of fights. It's not that he can't win it. It'd be interesting if he could pull it off, though.
And finally, how does an all-British clash between Callum Smith and Billy Joe Saunders play out, in your opinion, John?
I think that'd be great for the fans. I think it'd be a great fight. That they might want to see that. That's an interesting call right there. I can't tell you one right now. Not right now. Let me study both fighters more. I'll really give you a good breakdown. But it'll be interesting, and I think it's a good fight for the fans, especially the British fans, because it's probably something they want to see. I don't know if there's bad blood between these two guys, but they can make bad blood, you know. And I think, you know, those are the kind of fights actually that the fans deserve to see. They're both kind of at the top of their game, and they're both definitely at the top of that division. I think it's a fight that the fans deserve to see, and if it could be made, it should be made within the next year because, you know, they might make some good money from it too. But it's you know, in boxing, that's what we need. We need the fights. We need to see more fights that the fans deserve to see. And those two against each other, I think it'd be competitive and very, especially like I say for UK, interesting fight.
Well, I know I've kept you for longer than what you may have anticipated. I appreciate your time, and it's been brilliant to speak to you this week. I appreciate you giving up more time. Enjoy and have a safe flight back to the US. I'm sure I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you for speaking to myself on Boxing Social.
Hey, my pleasure. And I love being on your show, and just thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to voice my opinion.
That's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you.